and welcome to the Cash Flow Talk. Today we'll be talking about expecting to have equal partnerships in your investment real estate deals.
Hey guys, welcome. This is Camilo and this is my wife Michelle, and it's a very exciting topic today. But before we get started, I want to ask you a favor. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and make sure you comment below. And if you're on Facebook, make sure you like it or love it or give us those angry faces if you don't like it. But make sure you give us your comments, and if you have some questions, let us know. Private message us or leave the comments below. We'll do our very best to reply back to you and make sure we answer your question. So today we're talking about expecting to have equal partnerships in real estate investments. And before we get started, I want to share my experience with the very first real estate rehab that we did. When I started this business, Michelle was doing something else, and I said, okay, I'm going to do this full time. And I started about 6 to 8 months before she decided to join me full time and try to work these as a couple. But before we started, I started this business with my dad with one rehab property that was in Hollywood, Florida, not Hollywood, California. It was a cheap property in Hollywood, Florida. It's a 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, flat roof. It was a crazy mess. And the only thing I had available was a $2,000 available credit on a credit card. I have no cash. My dad, he was doing another business where he wasn't doing good, and we said, okay, if investors are saying that if we find a good deal, money will follow us, let's test it. After looking at about 100 properties, you remember driving these properties with me on Saturdays, Sundays, after 6. Oh my God, it was crazy, and I have a lot of pictures that maybe we can share in future videos. Yeah. But when we found this property, I'm like, okay, this property is worth $60,000 was the purchase price, and we were gonna be able to sell it for about $110,000, $120,000. Surprisingly, we sold it for $137,000 because it came out really good. But my point is, we had no money, and when we put the property under contract, we had no way to fund this deal, but at least we had the contract together. We started asking people, asking investors, asking our friends, and my dad luckily had a business partner in the other business that he was in, and he said, hey, if it has good profits, I'll put up the money for the project, and I'll put up the repairs. But he was a supermarket manager. Remember Carlos Mario, right? Yeah. He was a supermarket manager. How much time did he have in his life?
None.
He had not in his life, but for these projects, for this venture, he had absolutely no time. Yeah. So what we got creative, and we said, okay, how about we do all the dirty work? And you can tell them what we mean by dirty work and what we mean by clean work.
Yeah, so we've divided the work that takes in a rehab into 2 categories, and it just came about. There's no real reason for it. The dirty work basically is, having your hands on the project. So you're in charge of managing the workers, everything. You have to design everything inside, doing the landscaping, the painting, all of the hard work that, your hands on the project.
Absolutely.
And then the clean work is basically funding it, negotiating, mostly funding the property.
Absolutely, yeah. In other words, also to complement the dirty work, we call it finding the property, putting it under contract, closing and making sure the title is clean, and then doing all the rehab, paying all the contractors, meeting them at the property, sometimes even picking up the materials and finding where to buy these materials for cheaper, basically doing all the rehab, and at the end also marketing the property, selling the property, and coming to the closing table. Basically, dirty work, we call it doing all the work, and the clean investor, the clean work is just putting up the money and looking pretty, like you say. I'm just gonna look pretty and wait for the money to come in. So when we partnered with this investor, we said, hey, listen, we're doing all this work, and it would be my dad and myself, and then this other investor, all he's doing is putting up the money. And he was okay with a 15% return, but he said, hey, listen, how can we come to this agreement? What we decided was that the investor was going to get 40% of the total profit, and my dad was going to get 30%, and I was going to get 30%. At the end of the deal, when we got him his returns, he got way more than the 15-20% that he was expecting. I think he got out of it was $100,000 investment. It was $80,000 investment. The $60,000 in the purchase price, and then we put 20 into the property. And I think he got $25,000 in profit because we actually, it was a really good deal. Came out really nice, and we sold it within a week. Now that was back in 2011. My point is, it wasn't an even 50-50 split. What we did was 40 and 60 to us, but he didn't do anything. My point about this video is, if you have investors, if you have partners, if you have other people that you're working with, you have to understand what they're bringing to the deal and what you're bringing to the deal. If it's going to be a purely dirty work, one person's going to do everything and the other person is just going to fund and do the transactional,
and
maybe
and
look pretty, then it could be a 50-50 split. That's what usually the norm of the business is. But if, let's say, you're coming in with the dirty work, but you also have 50% of the money, then what is he going to bring to the table? Is he going to bring in just 50% of the cash? Is he going to do some of the work? Is he going to be the realtor that's going to be listing the property? Is he going to help designing the repairs and making the decisions? Is he going to be involved in the checkbook? Like, what people do you hire, what people not to hire? My experience and my opinion, just to wrap up this video, is if one person is coming in with the money and the other person is bringing in all the work, I would say it's a 50-50. If you're coming in with 50% of the money and another investor is coming in with 50% of the money, then either do a different split, let's say 70-30 or 75-25, or if he still wants to do 50-50, then he's going to be in charge of 50% of the dirty work.
Exactly.
Right?
So many times people approach us and they want to do 50-50 deals and they want to put 50% of the money, but they've never done a deal before.
Absolutely.
So you have to take into consideration the experience, the knowledge, and of course the money, because the money is a big factor. But not always you should expect 50% in your real estate investment deals.
Absolutely. I've seen other investors that when that happens, that let's say I'm partnering up with Michelle on a property and I say, hey, I don't know anything about real estate. I can only put in 50% of the money, but you do everything else.
And I'll learn in the process.
Exactly. What I can do is I say, okay, I may not know the business, but how can I help you? Or charge me a fee in addition to the 50% so that you're compensated for your time, and then we'll still go 50-50. The point of this video is, do not expect equal partnerships on each deal. Each deal is different, and each business partner is different, and each person is different. So approach it differently, and don't expect that there's a set rule for a business partnership. You want to share the other experience with the Miramar property that we had like 6 or 7 investors? That was crazy.
That was actually my first rehab, and we talk about it in the book too, because it was such a, it was such a fun experience and learning experience. And what happened was, it was actually 6 of us in the deal. Again, we went with what our mentors told us: find the deal and the money will follow. And so it was Camilo and I, and then we also had our really good friend Jaime. And then the 3 of us started making phone calls like crazy, and we were able to come up with, and your dad was also in the deal, and a realtor that she's a really good friend of ours, and we've grown, and then my aunt, and then I believe Jaime had some people from his family. It was so many people in this deal, and we were all figuring it out. Camilo's dad had more experience, so he kind of like took us by the hand and taught us what to do. And but it was great. But obviously, we didn't all have the same splits because I was just starting. I put some of the money, not a lot, but I couldn't expect, just because I was in the deal, to have an equal partnership, right? I was learning. It was my first rehab. I even put my hands dirty in the project. I was pressure cleaning, I was doing the garden outside. I mean, I really was 100%, but of course, not everybody had the same split because we all brought different things into the table.
Absolutely, and just so you understand, it wasn't $1 million deal. Just so you understand how we started. It wasn't $1 million deal, it wasn't a $300,000 deal. It was like a $60,000 or $65,000 project, and we had to bring in 6 people into the deal, and each person was bringing like, okay, I'll bring $15,000. The other one was like, okay, I only have $7,000. The other person would say, I have. One of them had a chase credit card that he maxed out. He cashed out. He paid the 3% to max it out, so he could use his $10,000 or $15,000, and he can be part of the deal. We didn't make a lot of money in the deal because we had to split it in so many ways.
Yeah.
But it was the very first deal, as with so many partners. It was the very first deal with our friend Jaime. It was the very first deal for my wife Michelle, which at the moment we were boyfriend and girlfriend. And it was the first deal working with this realtor that Michelle was telling you. So, and we had no credibility. So it was like, yeah, I had done 2 or 3 deals with my dad and these other investors that I just talked about, but it was the very first deal with these individuals, because at the same time we were doing another project with that other investor. Again, the point of the video is don't expect equal partnerships. All right, I hope you got the topic of today's talk. Again, this is the cash flow talk. My wife Michelle, Camilo, the cash flow girl, the cash flow guy, and make sure you subscribe to our channel, YouTube, the cash flow talk. And if you're watching on Facebook, just like it, share it, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you want to do. Happy face or ugly face if you don't like it, but make sure you comment and stay tuned for more videos. All right, guys, take care. Bye bye.